Hello, my name is Brandon Baltes, and this video is going to be about what I want to do as a mayor and why. Why do I want to get rid of so much government? Why do I want to cut spending? Where's my evidence? Where's my proof? Well, one of the things we're going to do today is go over. I was watching a council meeting of the city of Springfield council meeting, city council, and what I saw. I mean, you can go watch it for yourself. It was pretty recent. It was not. It was only a couple, maybe like a month or a few old. I think it might have been a few weeks old. I forget off the top of my head, but I was watching a city council meeting. I was watching about, I don't know, 30 minutes of it. Okay, or maybe a little bit more than 30 minutes. But I saw bills. I saw out of every bill I saw, I think I saw like 8 bills, 8 proposals. Every single one was passed. And not only that, they were passed with essentially zero opposition. There was I forgot how many council members there are, but barely any negative votes. You know, someone trying to strike down the bill by voting nay instead of yay, and it was pretty much just Greens across the board. And the problem with this is that the problem with passing in and a copious, never-ending amount of bills, or a myriad, right? We like to call it a myriad of bills. There are problems with this that these people probably do not even realize. And the big one is it worth it? Likely, most of these, a lot of them, they're not worth it. They're not worth it. It's easy to fall into that state of thinking that, hey, these people, we've got homeless people here. We're the government. Let's help them. I mean, provide for the general welfare. I mean, the Constitution gives us the power to do this. Okay, let's do it. The problem is, it would be better in the aggregate for those homeless people and everybody if you didn't. Sometimes, specifically when it comes to things that are not worth it. Right, when you're taxing, and you have to remember, when you are going to use your power as a government to help your citizens, you have to know, how are you going to be able to help them? Well, the only way they help us is by us giving them resources to help us. Remember, the government only exists because of us, because of the people. We want a government. We give our consent to be governed, and they govern. All of our tax dollars. The only way that it's going to be efficient, really, I mean, it's more complicated than this, but one way you can look at this is the only way they're going to be more efficient than us at spending money is if they're better at effectuating our own best interests than we ourselves are. And here's the thing: yes, we need police. Yes, we need public education. We need roads. We need public parks. Okay, there are things that the government has to do. But there's also things the government doesn't have to do, like NRC regulations, like crazy spending in the Department of Education, where it has not even helped the level of education. We've just thrown more money on a dead horse. We just keep beating a dead horse, throwing more money and more money in the Department of Education, hoping it gets better, but it just never does. Also, you've got regulations and agencies that are not even supposed to be around anymore. For example, the one, I think it's called the Rural Electrification Committee or agency, something like that. I don't know if this is according to an article a couple of years ago, and I will give my sources on this in a video here in a little bit. We're going to do a video on this actual article because it's so good. But this agency was formed in the Great Depression, 1930s, FDR days. Yeah, the FDR days where the government was expanding even more than it was today. Think about that for a second. And basically, they are still around today, and their goal was to help with the Great Depression. They are still around today. These are things that we can cut down on. And what does this do? Why is this one of the, why aren't you going on? Why aren't you talking about, why is your philosophy on politics, Brandon, so policy and economic based, right? And what should the government do in the economy rather than cultural, right? With the crazy, Black Lives Matter. Okay, police brutality, alleged, critical race theory, right? It's the 1619 Project, all of these crazy things that there's two starkly different sides on. Why aren't you getting in there? Well, to me, there's that stuff's very important, right? I mean, I've already said where I stand on a solid amount of that stuff, right? But to me, the economics The economics is what everybody's neglecting, and that's what is easier to solve. I also think it's much easier for me to think of a solution. Many people point to COVID being the reason for bad employment over the recent past year and a half, roughly, a little less than a year and a half, maybe, but that's the reason why the employment's been so bad. That's why we haven't had as much GDP and as much growth. I would say it's not just COVID, and also, it's hard. There's a million different ways that you can measure economic growth. I mean, there really is. There's a million ways, but what I'll say, and I'll pretty much die on this hill. No, that's probably not the best way to say it though, because that's not truly what I mean. Because at the end of the day, I do have an open mind. I like to think I have a very open mind. I'm always willing to change my opinion because I've done it so many times. Especially when I was just getting into this, right? Just researching, seeing what's going on, watching videos on YouTube, seeing which person I believe and which person I don't, right? Sam Harris versus Jordan Peterson, right? Those are great. Those are fantastic ones. And having people on Joe Rogan's podcast, absolutely fantastic stuff and information there, right? When I was figuring stuff out. But now, what I say is the way to help. I don't know about fix everything. Okay, I don't want to. I'm not the supposed savior that's going to save and fix everyone's problems. What I will say I can do, if I were to, or not even if many people were to start thinking like me, or if I were to get elected somewhere with some sort of decent power in government, what I'm going to do is shut down the freaking agencies that are arbitrary and not worth the money to the taxpayers. That's the key. Not that they suck or that they're not as good as they should be or that they're using money not very efficiently. No. Are they worth it as an agency in the aggregate? Are they worth it for their cost? Right? Every agency costs money. If you're going to do something in the world, most of the time you're going to require some money. And in terms of government, you're going to need a lot of money. Are those agencies using it in a way that justifies their existence? If they are not using it in a way that justifies their existence, if they're using it arbitrarily, not doing it well, or the private sector would be more efficient in the aggregate, taxpayers would benefit more without that government agency benefit and with less taxes because the government doesn't need as much money because you're decreasing that agency, probably some other ones as well, decrease taxes. Okay, is this a benefit, balance the budget as well, right? Okay, then let's get rid of them maybe. All right. And this is kind of what I'm going to be doing. I mean, this is what I would like to be doing at least. And of course, this can change. The philosophy can change, of course. But that is lowering taxes, getting rid of the bad agencies, balancing the budget, right? Being the only city that is actually doing well on the budget compared to everyone else, right? Yeah. federal government, right? Debt ceiling. Everybody's freaking out in the market today with debt ceiling, and they were a week or two ago as well. Fear index started spiking. UVXY is the ticker symbol if anyone is interested in stocks or does stock market stuff at all. Anyways, it's my view, and going a little bit on that, talking a little bit about that, the freaking markets. It's just a matter of time until people, in my view, it's kind of just a matter of time until people wake up and realize this can't go on forever. We cannot keep spending. The government cannot keep spending more than it collects every year. This is impossible to keep up. At any time, I think people can start realizing there is another side to the government's endless spending, and that is it's not auspicious for an economy. The markets shouldn't be valued like this. The companies that are being regulated by these governments and being taxed draconian amounts, in a lot of cases, in my opinion, from the government, maybe their valuations are not justified based on this. Maybe maybe what their CEO says, what Elon Musk says, isn't the only thing that matters in their valuation, and investors are going to start waking up to that. And maybe I should before they do, right? And I also think once a couple people start doing it, not a couple, but once a significant amount of people start realizing or start not realizing necessarily, right? I don't want to be dogmatic. Once a couple people start thinking that the government has not been doing the best job, has not been doing the best job, that is likely going to mean a domino effect eventually. And then it's just going to be a big correction for the markets, which is not necessarily bad. I think, we haven't had a big correction. I mean, COVID, you can call COVID, I mean, it was a crash. It was a market crash, sure. But it was, if you look out more than a couple months, it was actually, I mean, if you bought in the day before COVID tanked the markets and held for a year, look at where you're at now. You're at all-time highs. You're up a significant amount. You're up, what is that? Okay, I don't know, 30, you're up at least 30, 50, maybe even more than that percentage in most indexes, okay, if you held from before COVID started. So we haven't had a correction. That's my point. The markets continue to skyrocket, and the governments are going right with it. Right with it. It doesn't add up. It doesn't add up, and the only way it does add up is if you can justify all of the higher taxes and all of the increased regulation and the government size and the debts and the freaking deficit spending and the inflation worries. It's not even necessarily about balancing the budget completely. It's just, hey, there's a way for us to increase economic growth and increase livelihood in the aggregate all around if we can just do a couple things, which is lower taxes, which is a no-brainer in my opinion. Okay, that's a no-brainer. Now, how are you gonna lower taxes, Brandon? We're government spending a ton of money. That's the thing. We're going to stop spending a ton of money. We're going to get rid of the arbitrary agencies, and that's going to allow us to decrease taxes. And it's also going to allow us to, therefore, okay, by that lower taxes, higher economic growth. Okay, why lower taxes are better than higher taxes for economic growth is kind of obvious as hell. But there is a debate, an argument with there. So that's another video, or maybe we'll do this video. But also, the agencies that were spending a lot of money, some of them, and specifically the ones that I'm trying to target and eviscerate, are some of the ones that are obviously, as we said, not worth it, and the ones that also, among other things, of course, that are doing arbitrary regulation. For example, the NRC, not the whole NRC, not the whole Department of Education, but elements of them, huge elements of them. Maybe not the majority of them, right? Maybe not the majority of their employees, but a lot of their employees need to go. A lot of their rules, a lot of the bureaucrats need to get the hell out of there and move into the private sector. That's how it's gonna be, man. So yeah, you get the lower taxes, which is gonna be a higher economic growth, and you get the balanced budget because this as well. But you also get businesses that have less regulation because of our cutting of arbitrary agencies, and that just helps everybody. That helps everybody. So by lowering taxes, by decreasing the spending, and getting rid of agencies, pretty significantly, right? Both of those pretty significantly, we are able to balance the budget. Those are the three things that I want to do, right? I don't know if I can quite do that on the federal level while I'm the city of Springfield mayor, right? Absolutely not. Okay, of course not. But I mean, that's the start. We start at the mayor level, and then we move up. And I think these are obvious things to do. And these are things that it's not just about the money. It's not just about people. I mean, in a way it is, I guess. But you have to understand, when I say I want people to make more money without inflation. Okay, just take it. Don't take me out of context here. Don't hear what I'm not saying. Money for poor people. If they have money, they eat. If they don't, they starve. They go cold. They die. Okay, they die. We need jobs for them. And how do you create jobs? Don't kill me here. Don't kill me. Just hear me out here. Okay, one of the ways that you can create jobs is decrease the taxes for the rich and middle class and everybody. Okay, I'm decreasing the taxes for everyone, not just the rich. But if the rich are taxed less, guess what that gives them an opportunity to do? Throw those extra profits that are not going to the arbitrary government spending back into their business. And do you know what Amazon does? Do you know what Walmart and McDonald's and Chick-fil-A and Hardee's do? They give poor people jobs. They give minimum wage jobs. They give jobs that are slightly higher minimum wage, and all around that level. At a stockman, right? I worked as a stockman for Hobby Lobby and Gordman's before that for a little while. Okay, if we were able to decrease taxes for those businesses and for all incomes, and corporations and LLCs, all the business types, okay, all the corporation types, more jobs for poor people and everybody. Okay, so money is the difference between life and death, literally in some cases for the poor people. So let's give them a better chance to make money. Let's give them more opportunities for jobs, man. It's pretty simple. And that's that's kind of my philosophy, right? It's three-pronged. It's very simple. And with that being said, let's go on to what I was saying earlier with the city council thing. All right, so the copious amounts of bills passing. That was the first thing I saw when I watched the. Okay, yeah, it was September 7th. Yeah, it was September 7th, 2021 City Council Springfield meeting here. I saw zero bills. Not I saw zero bills that were rejected. This scares me. This scares me very much, and because here's the thing, I didn't read the entire background of every single bill, but many of these they do not. I don't know for sure, so I'm not going to say. But many of them, I'm skeptical if they are actually worth the money. I can't say if any of them are or not for sure because I just don't know enough about them. But it worries me that there's just such an attitude of okay, yeah, more government, let's go, pass the bills, let's get home tonight quickly. That's what the city council is kind of doing for Springfield. That worries me. That worries me very much. And of course, I only watched like 30, 40 minutes of it, right? So I'm not saying the city of Springfield sucks, okay? No, I don't know. I don't even know half the council's freaking names, okay? No, I don't know. But I'm already, right off the bat, not an amazing first impression, okay, for me. So with that being said, I know that one was more, this episode, this week was more, what's the word? More all over the place, right? And I want to cover more things. Next week, I think we're going to do specific examples. We're definitely going to do specific examples of what agencies I want to get rid of. We've already done the Department of Education and NRC, but I want to do more, and I want to go over that article I mentioned earlier. So maybe we'll do that next week with more, we'll do more a video on more one topic instead of 1,000 that we did here, or at least several. So with that being said, thank you so much. Feel free to check out Auspicious Descent. Thank you to Newsweed. Newsweed is legendary, and I will see y'all in the next one.